Welcome along to WD18, the Watford fan channel. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. On today's show, myself, Jacob Coleshaw, Sam Yuko, Charlie Zazera, back today to talk all things Watford. We're going to be touching on that Southampton draw in the FA Cup, some transfer rumours regarding players coming in and out, only a few. And then we'll look ahead to Sheffield Wednesday and Watford's trip to Hillsborough. Sam, Charlie, first off. Sam, wait, Charlie's got a little bit of a smirk on his face. What are you thinking about there, mate?
Just Sam's opinion on Watford's goal that they conceded on Saturday.
I think that's the best place to start because Watford won, Southampton won. Now, Sam, you've got a bone to pick with Daniel Batman, haven't you?
Yeah, I think I don't know. You two both thought I was being harsh. I think he's got to do better with it. First off, just going back to it, I thought it was one of Watford's best performances of the season. I thought we were brilliant the other day, particularly in the first half. I thought the players looked like they were enjoying themselves. I think the patterns of play were really, really good. The shape was brilliant. Everyone was running, and I was really, really impressed by it. I think ultimately we were our own worst enemies. We shot ourselves in the foot by not finishing our chances, not taking our chances throughout the game. And I think we got into some really good crossing positions and ultimately didn't capitalise. Southampton were having an off day as well, so I think it was a really, really good opportunity to make a real statement and end their unbeaten run. But I get it's tough with bodies in front of him. But I think, first of all, the punch out, I think he could do slightly better with that, get it further wide rather than right back into the danger zone. And also, I think he commits too early before Armstrong's shot, which makes him wrong-footed, meaning he can't get across to his near post and save it. Like I said, the caveat to that is there are a lot of bodies in front of him, and it's difficult perhaps to see it, but I just think he could have done a bit better with it, to be honest.
Charlie, in defence of Batman.
I don't think he could have done much of it, to be honest. Like, it was a decent strike that he's got a good pair of hands on. I don't know. In that moment, I'm not no goalkeeper expert, but in that moment, having the ability to palm it where you like, I'm not sure at the Championship or even at many levels that happens when the shots hit like that. And I just think you got to give credit to Armstrong. I thought it was a really, really clever finish. Gave kind of the defenders and all of the Watford backline and Batman the eyes and whipped it in the other corner for a really smart finish. And I think it's been coming. Like, I just looked at the old momentum bar in the second half. Southampton were all over us. We looked like we were tiring a bit. The subs, we kind of got deeper and deeper, which, I don't know, a few people question Val's substitutions. I'm not too sure, really, because I just don't know what the other options were. You look at people like Ken Sema came on. He didn't have an impact, really. Couldn't get a foot on it. And I just thought it was probably a fair result. And it was just at that stage of the season, and we just couldn't grind out the result like we had previously. But like Sam, I agree with what Sam said. First half, I thought it was an excellent first half. I thought we were really bright. I thought it was one of our best out of possession halves, where we know Southampton are good on the ball, but we limited them to barely anything. And then we were quite dangerous in the break.
So a couple of points from my end. Firstly, I side with Charlie on the Batman debate. I think Stuart Armstrong, it's a great finish, a very clever finish, actually. He used the bodies in front of him. Batman's reaction was sort of like, I didn't really have a full, clear sight of it. I understand Sam's point potentially about his positioning. We know where Batman's strengths and weaknesses are. We know he's a confidence player. I personally just think it's harsh to criticise him on that goal in particular. In terms of Watford's overall performance, I thought we were the better team in the first half and probably edged it overall. We do have to caveat that with Southampton being pretty poor in the first half. I think Russell Martin said at half-time, he'd spoke to them and said, you need to come out of the blocks a bit better than they did in the first half. Second half, I thought they grew into it. And I think credit to Martin because he made 4 subs in one and then made his 5th sub very quickly afterwards on about 60 minutes. And it felt like when they brought on the likes of Smallbone, Armstrong, both Armstrongs actually, you could tell the quality of that Southampton team. And from a Watford point of view, what I would say is I thought defensively we were great, and I echo what Charlie said there. I think particularly look across that back line, our 2 centre-backs, Sam, Mattie Pollock and Wesley Hoot were probably, for me, our 2 best players in terms of the amount of blocks they put in, the tackles, the areas they're winning their tackles as well. But I know you wanted to touch on Mattie Pollock, someone who hasn't had a lot of game time in a Watford shirt, and particularly the season has been a bit part player, but he really did turn up the other day.
Yeah, I've got such a soft spot for Matty. Before going on to that, I do want to agree with you, by the way. I did actually think up until the goal. I thought Dan did have a really, really good game, to be fair to him. I know everyone in the Rookery sort of had collective gasps whenever the ball was at his feet, but I did think his kicking was a lot better the other day. On top of that, he did make some really good saves and did look more confident off his line. So fair play to Dan for that. And we've all got our opinions on the goal, I suppose. But on Matty, I'm so happy for him. I thought he was absolutely brilliant the other day. I thought he was our man of the match as well. I think he's someone who needs minutes, and we know that. And ultimately, he hasn't had minutes. But I think based on that performance the other day, we can't be letting him go this window. There's rumours that he could be going to Aberdeen, and obviously he's had a transfer request according to Andrew French. But I genuinely thought that was one of the best defensive performances we've seen from any Watford player this season. I thought he was, I've said before on the channel, I think sometimes Ryan Porteous can be overly aggressive without much control. I thought there was the perfect balance there from Pollock. I thought he was aggressive, but didn't overstep the mark either. And that complemented an excellent performance. Made some really, really good challenges, particularly one in the second half. Looked composed with the ball at his feet. It was just a really, really good all-round performance from him. And I think there's a case that he has to start on Wednesday tomorrow night as well.
If you're Mattie Pollock, Charlie, and you're thinking there's one day left for this transfer window, it's one that's rumbled on throughout the start of this transfer window. And you've let's say you've got Aberdeen on the table where you played your best football of your career so far. Are you sticking in Watford and buying your time, or are you going to Aberdeen and making the move?
You're having a conversation with Val and saying, after what I've just done on Sunday, and I think something that's important to note, I know it was Southampton's B team, but their front line, he was up against Shea Adams, who's got loads of Premier League experience, and that Mara, who was playing on the wing. He cost Southampton 10 million. I echo kind of what Sam said. I thought it was an outstanding performance. And I think looking at kind of how Val's conducted himself and rewarded players, I think he deserves to start against Sheffield Wednesday. Again, one thing that I highlighted, which I thought was important, I thought at times he did man mark where he has gone into midfield, but he did it with quite a lot of composure where he wasn't rash and he held him up but didn't get turned. So, yeah, I'd be more than happy to see him play against Sheffield Wednesday, and let's see how he gets on. Do you know what I mean? If he's got the shirt and he's playing outstanding for the rest of the season, he could be our next centre half. That's why we bought him, a really highly rated young English centre back. So I like nothing more. But great performance. Can he do it again? But if Val says to him, "Look, I'm really sorry, but I can't guarantee you minutes," then maybe he'll have to go.
I thought him and Wesley Hoot complemented each other quite well. I think probably Pollock benefited from Hoot as well in terms of just that positioning. And one thing we'd say about Pollock, we mentioned Aberdeen there. He's been a target for a couple of championship teams. I think Rotherham and Barnsley were the two rumoured. You then look into League One as well, at top of League One, where he has experience at Cheltenham Town on loan as well. Not them in particular, but League One clubs have been sniffing around about Mattie Pollock. So he's a player that's been on the radar for a number of teams. That's one that you definitely need to maybe look out for and develop. It might be a similar Marvin Sordell situation where on deadline day we're selling someone at the last minute. So yeah, Mattie Pollock, let us know what you think. If you're Mattie, if you're in his shoes, what would you do? Sam, stick around, or is it, as Charlie said, wait for that chat with Val and see what his plans are? Because just before you jump in, Sam, there was a quote by Val where after the game he said, "We're pleased with Mattie Pollock. He has to be more focused on us, and he is a part of our process. We know that he wants to play more. We understand everything. But as long as he is here, he needs to be focused." It has been reported that Pollock put in a transfer request just a few days ago.
Yeah, I think after that performance, I don't think anyone can stand in his way if he does want to go. If Val does say, "Look, I can't guarantee you minutes," I think he's proven that he's good enough to start at a club, whether that's in Scotland or in England as well. I think too many Watford fans perhaps wrote him off after that sort of disaster against Millwall last season, that first half, which even he admitted was probably the worst game of his career so far. But I think he sort of rebuilt himself up from that. His brilliant spell at Aberdeen. And whenever he's come on this season off the bench for sort of 10, 15-minute spells, I think he's always been brilliant. On top of that, he's someone who conducts himself really, really well. He's been patient. And he's brilliant with the fans as well. I think, though, in football, obviously, it's such a limited career that you've got, and you only have, say, 30, 35 years at the highest level. And ultimately, if he's not getting minutes, he's someone who wants to play football. So I don't think we can begrudge him if he does want to move on, if he's not guaranteed minutes. But I think it would be a huge loss for Watford if we let him go. If I was him, I'd stick around until the summer, to be honest with you. And at that point, if he isn't getting the minutes, then fair play, he can move on.
Mattie Pollock was a standout against Southampton. Charlie, any other players you wanted to mention that potentially played?
Shout out to Matthias Martins, who scored for really, really nice, smart free kick. I think when you look at it from behind, like there's only one place he can really get it, and he executes it brilliantly. Put some great pace on it, and I thought that really built him up the confidence, and he kind of looked a bit more like the player we were seeing at the start of the season. Interesting, he was started out on the right, didn't he? So he was looking to beat his man and get crosses in. But I just thought his all-round game, he was a lot more tidier on the ball, releasing it at the right times, putting crosses in. So it's good to see him, because I think we've got a really good player there, and he's going to have a bit of pressure now with Dennis coming in, who we keep hearing that Val wants to play him out wide. So Martins is someone who may struggle now for game time, but I thought he played excellently, and if we can get him firing like he was at the start of the season, he'll be a real asset for us.
What do we think of Dennis's first few minutes back in a Watford shirt, Sam?
I think it's become clear why Val has said, let's be patient with him. I think I think it's clear he needs a few games, to be fair, a few minutes just to sharpen up. I think that was the best way to describe it, to be fair. I just don't think he looked sharp. Nothing against him. I think he's coming off the back of an injury now, but I've got no doubt that he will come good. There were a couple of good touches in there. He won a really, really good header as well in front of the rookery. And it's great to see him back, but I think it is clear that he just needs to get back into the flow of English football and back into the swing of things.
When he did that chop at the edge of our own area and lost the ball, I was having flashbacks to the 21-22 second half of the Premier League season. I was like, oh no. But, hopefully we get to see him at Hillsborough tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll touch on that one in just a second. If they finished Watford 1, Southampton 1. It was the 89th minute when Stuart Armstrong scored for Southampton, and the draw came through because it was delayed due to events at the Hawthorns between West Brom and Wolverhampton Wanderers. We then got given Liverpool away, who beat Norwich 5-2. And my initial reaction, lads, was, will Salah be around? Because if we got through, his record against us is absolutely terrifying.
I don't think you've got to worry about Liverpool, Jacob. I think, like, I was, after the game, honestly, probably one of the most deflated I'd been for, like, probably a long while. Second half of last season, maybe that Luton game, simply because because we played well, and it would have been great. It would have been a great result. But the fact that it's a draw, it's a replay, it's another game midweek. Can you honestly think we'll get a result against Southampton? Like, I just...
Val masterclass potentially. Sam, replay, I mean, it probably, in a weird way, was the worst outcome. Because we've got an extra game in the calendar. Whoever wins goes to Liverpool anyway, so neither team is probably going to go through. You never know, but unlikely. But if you're Valérien Ismaël with Southampton away, are you just rotating it as much as possible? Are you just playing whoever, or do you try and look at it and go, it's a game against a championship team, which will be 4 times the season we play Southampton, 4 times too many. But would you be rotating it, Sam, and trying to build a little bit in that respect, or really just go for momentum and try and get a result?
I mean, I think you have to question the extent that Watford can rotate, because we don't have the biggest squad, to be fair. So I don't think what we would see if we did rotate would be too dissimilar to what we see in a championship match. Look, I'm someone who I want to go for it against Southampton, because yes, it would be a really, really tough game at Anfield, probably the toughest game along with Manchester City that we could have got. But at the end of the day, football's about moments and competing on the highest level. And I feel like the away day, first of all, at Anfield, would just be perfection. And secondly,
sorry, it would be midweek.
It would be midweek under the lights at Anfield. Be decent.
I've seen us lose there too many times.
When Britos, when Britos was on his backside. There's been quite a few trips to Anfield. Yeah.
Look, for me, football's about moments and seeing Watford playing at the highest level on the biggest stages, and I'd absolutely love it, even though we would realistically lose. But look, the two things at the back of my head: one, it's the FA Cup, anything can happen. Two, we were in Jurgen Klopp's unbeaten run. Let's ruin his goodbye party as well. So
I'm just looking at the fixtures. Sheffield Wednesday tomorrow, then Cardiff at home on Saturday. Then it's apparently Tuesday against Southampton, Tuesday or Wednesday. And then we've got Leicester at home. So
and
it's
then,
like...
And then Norwich away that Tuesday as well. So the fixtures are relentless.
I think Southampton's now on Tuesday, the 6th of Feb.
That confirmed, yeah. So I do back what Sam's saying. I just think it would be such a tough task, and I think we'll be rotating players, which is fine. So maybe on a one-off day, and Sam's kind of convinced me. Like, you never know in football, but I just think that replay no one wanted. If we could beat Southampton in their run at home, we haven't been great at home. It would have been a great result. So I was a bit deflated, but we go again.
We go again, and we do go again tomorrow at Hillsborough. Well, hopefully when this comes out, it will be it will be today, which is on the Tuesday. Watford make the trip to Hillsborough. Wednesday night, I was really gutted again. It's a midweek game. It was one that I wanted to tick off, but unfortunately, due to other commitments, I'm not able to make it. Up to Sheffield Wednesday. Sam, Charlie, any of you boys going?
Oh, yeah, yes. We both are. Yeah.
Wowee! This is what I didn't know that. That was like a sort of like Omri Carragher. But lads, just your feelings and thoughts, Sam, going up to Hillsborough. Have you been before?
I've never been. I just want to shout out Jack Davis, who is heading back today from Birmingham to go back down to London to get his car so he can drive us there and back tomorrow, as there was no trains back to Birmingham after. So, yeah, appreciate that, Jack. And
incredible.
Yeah, looking forward to tomorrow. Feel free to jump in, Jacob, if you want. I think we've got room in the boot. So,
mate, it'd be an absolute honour. Away day,
Sam. Yeah, looking forward to it. I think it's obviously a winnable game. A really tough game, potentially a banana skin. I think me and Charlie were discussing that last week on our group chat. I really like Danny Roll as a manager as well. I know they're still sort of down there in the league, but I think he has sort of shifted the momentum down there from what they had under Cisco Munoz earlier in the season. There's a real sense of hope and anticipation that they could stay up now. It's a fantastic traditional football club, a traditional stadium as well, but one that will be fantastic to see Watford get 3 points at, and one that I think we need to get 3 points at as well if we are going to go up this season.
Charlie, we're four games unbeaten. Our last game was an away trip to Ashton Gate against Bristol City, where it finished 1-1. We then had an away win, obviously with Jake Livermore winning 2-1, and then 2 draws, 1 away at Plymouth and 1 at home to Stoke. So it's another away game in the league. I think that's 4 on the bounce, if I'm not mistaken. Charlie, where do you see this game won or lost?
I have no idea. That's not a great answer, but I haven't watched much of Sheffield Wednesday. Like, I've seen from the outside, like Danny Rowe's got a really good pedigree and he has changed things. I think they've brought in Okbo, who we have been linked with. I think he was at Cardiff earlier in the season. He looks like a decent striker. They've got half decent players, but we should be winning. And I think away from home, our form's exceptional, and I think we've been really good this season. I only think a handful of teams have won more points than us away from home, which is pretty remarkable turnaround, because I didn't think we won away from home in almost like a calendar year. Let's just see the boys go out there and hopefully produce what they can produce, and we'll win because we've got the better quality players. But like Sam said, it's not going to be easy. They're scrapping for their lives, so it's not going to be an easy game whatsoever. We've seen this season that we're a team, we fight for each other. So I'm quietly confident, but I know it's not going to be an easy game. But yeah, like Sam said, we can't really rest on our laurels. If we want to keep momentum going and want to keep pushing and want to keep dreaming of a good end to the season, we need to win games like tomorrow night.
It'll be interesting to see what the tone is after tomorrow, because the reverse fixture, when we won 1-0, we did our first ever post-match pint, and the background's changed a lot. And Watford have changed a lot. And the tone around and the feeling around Watford's changed quite dramatically. I remember we were saying we until otherwise we're in a relegation battle, which, I mean, at the time, the football wasn't great. And we were kind of scraping a result against Sheffield Wednesday. I think on another day we probably could have conceded and drawn that game, and then it could have been could have been pretty bad, but we managed to get through that. And I think what's changed from the reverse fixture, Sam, if you can maybe put your finger on the differences in this Watford team from then and to now.
Yeah, it's difficult to sort of pin it down. I remember saying on that post-match point, I was worried for Val's job as well. I think it was post that Middlesbrough game, which I think was the turning point in the season when Watford became tighter at the back, which I think is exactly what we saw in that Sheffield Wednesday game. There were a few games where we sort of tried to keep it tight and then tried to nick it late, like we did against Sheffield Wednesday, like we did away at Swansea as well. I think since then, what we've seen is we've become slightly more expansive as well. We are still conceding some really poor goals, but I think what we're seeing now is that we've got a team who, like Charlie said before, they're really fighting for each other, where I think we found our best players now and the best positions to play certain players. I think Jake Livermore's come into the side since then as well, which has made a huge difference to us. So yeah, football's a weird game, isn't it? Because I sound like a broken record, but I just think the intangibles are there even more since that Sheffield Wednesday game. Also want to touch on the fact that I think one of the reasons why I was so deflated leaving the Southampton game as well was the thought that Ishmael Kone was holding his hamstring at the end. And Andrew French today confirmed via Valerian Ishmael's press conference that it was just cramps. So Kone is okay for tomorrow night, which is massive for us, I think.
Huge news. You need those ball carriers in midfield, and I thought Chapfordetzi actually was another one who then looked bright. He's benefiting from a run in the team.
Love Georgie.
I do have to pick up on a football cliche though from Sam, and we've mentioned on this channel about the WD18 bingo, and mine is we would have lost that game last season, and Sam's is the intangibles. So Charlie, to finish off the hat trick, can you think of something that you say all the time that we could add to the list? I'm trying to think.
I don't want to bring the momentum bar out.
Oh, it's the momentum bar.
No, I'll have to think. Get in the comments. Let me know an annoying saying that I say that annoys.
What does Charlie always say that you pick up on? So mine's always we would have lost it last season. Sam's the intangibles, and Charlie, we're going to go momentum bars as error. Is always my favourite. Have you said that, actually, Charlie? Just on that, Southampton, what was the momentum bar saying?
Yeah, it wasn't good second half. Southampton dominated that momentum bar, but along with Ishmael Kone, Tom Daly's back as well for tomorrow. I think we're fully fit. So, does Dennis come in?
Not for me, no. Like I say, I think he will start. Obviously, he's going to be one of our, if not our best player. But I think I saw enough against the other day that just give him 20 minutes, half an hour, probably for this game and the Cardiff game, and then from maybe give him his first start in the Southampton replay. I just think he needs some time to get sharper.
I agree, Sam. I think the Southampton game is almost the perfect game to give him his first start. You know, there's not really any pressure on it in that respect, apart from a trip to Anfield and seeing Sam in the away end. But it's one of those games where you can kind of get your fitness up. There's no a league game is obviously the priority for us this season. So I think if I'm Valerian Ishmael, I'm looking at it going, you know what, get Emmanuel Dennis into that Southampton lineup. Lads, what are we thinking prediction-wise for tomorrow? It's a must-win. I don't think there's any real debate over that, is there? You know, they're 23rd in the league. We do need to be going. I know it's away, and people say if you want to do well in the Championship, you need to win your home and draw your away. But I think you need to be winning away at Sheffield Wednesday, Charlie.
Yeah, no. If we want any chance to be in the playoff mix, we need to win away. Yeah, I've been impressed seeing us away from home. I thought we were quite good on Sunday. I'm going to go with we're going to win 3-2.
I'm actually going to go 2-1 Watford. I think it'll be quite tight.
I'm concerned, to be honest with you, tomorrow night, because I'm always a bit negative with my predictions, I feel like. But Sheffield Wednesday have had an extra 2 days rest to prepare for us because they played on Friday, we played on Sunday. And I'm not sure why. I want to hear what you two think about why. But I think the Southampton game, the second half, was the first time that Watford have looked properly exhausted this season. We were really struggling. I think I saw about 4 or 5 players go down with cramp. Mattie Pollock was holding his hamstring. Kone got injured. Came off injured. Various other players were just stretching out when the ball went out of play. I'm not sure why that is, but I've got a feeling we're going to draw tomorrow night.
I guess that's the risk you run with having quite a tight and small squad. It has its benefits in terms of building chemistry, morale, and team spirit. But then also with the way we play sometimes, especially when the amount of running the midfielders do, you do put yourself in trouble in sort of the load. And that's why I guess Val really emphasises the load on some of these players. Andrews was a prime example where they had to rotate him because he was doing so many sprints. And even at the end of that Southampton game, he made this like lung-busting run down the right, if you remember, and he had that shot, which he got on target but didn't lead to anything. I guess the thing I would say though, Charlie, is in the cases that Sam's mentioned, Pollock hadn't played a lot. We've had to rely on Kone quite a bit. Did you say Chatford-Detsy as well, Sam?
I think Georgie, I think Mark. I think, to be fair, I'd say probably about half the team was stretching out when the ball went out play, which is normal, to be fair. But I just think in the body language, not that it was bad at all, because I think the players dug really, really deep. I just think they looked knackered. I'm not sure why it was.
Do you know what? And I think it was that first half, we put so much into it. That's why it was a bit of a crime that we only scored one and we didn't finish the game off. Mark Lewis is coming back from fitness. Siralta hasn't played that many minutes. He's not the most dynamic centre midfielder. So I don't think it's anyone's fault. I just think it is. And it doesn't help when they bring on probably £50 million worth of talent. So, yeah, I don't think it's anyone's fault. It is what it is.
Yeah, I think it comes down again, though, huge credit to the fact that it's taken, until January for me to be saying this, when last season we were saying it every week from the first day of the season. So credit to everyone and credit to Val as well for that 7-week army training camp.
We need to hear about that pre-season, what was involved. Speaking of tight squads, there are going to be rumours coming into deadline day about Watford making some last-minute moves. And just to wrap up today's show, there was a rumour released from Fabrizio Romano, a Watford fan as well, which is something to mention. And he reported that Watford have approached Manchester City to sign someone that Charlie mentioned in a previous video, Micah Hamilton, on loan. 2 more Championship clubs have also asked for a loan with Hamilton this month, but Manchester City have no plans to let him leave. Now, when I saw it initially, Charlie, I was like, yes, please, I'm all over this. But Pep, if you're watching, come on, man! Like he probably won't even play this season.
I mean, obviously, at least now we know that Val is a WD18 fan and watched that video, so that's where he got the advice. But me and Sam spoke a bit about it. It's like, but do we need him? Like another attacking midfielder? We've got Georgie, Martins, Asprilla, Dennis, Ken Semmers back. As great as new players are, I don't think it's an area that we necessarily need. He does have pace, and that's one thing that I kind of wanted to mention when we did bring Dennis in. I think that's an area that we were lacking, and bringing in that pace is going to help our front line massively. It's been a strange old window, really. I'm sure we'll do a video reacting to it, but I think that defender is going to be interesting. It's clear we want a left-footed centre half. We got linked with an AC Milan one. Pellegrino, I think he's been linked to a loan move in Verona today, so I can't see that happening. I don't think anything's going to happen. It doesn't help that it's a game day on deadline day tomorrow. I think it might upset Mattie Pollock because I think we'll only bring someone in if Pollock leaves. But look, we've kind of fallen back in love with this team. I know it's a tight-knit group and we would like to see more players, but I'd rather have this team fighting for the rest of the season than just bringing in someone and maybe letting go Pollock for the sake of it. So, yeah, do you guys think we're going to do any business tomorrow?
I think it just depends on... I just think it's the policy of one through the door, one out the door. I think you're absolutely bang on there, Charlie. If Pollock says he wants to leave and he's going to force a move through and we have a replacement lined up, then that's what I could see happening. But unless there's like a Tom Ince who leaves out on loan, which has been rumoured today, we could does free up a position in the squad for us to bring in a free agent or a loan or even, spend a little bit of money. But Sam, are you getting the impression that it is one in, one out with this Watford team?
Yeah, 100%. I don't think we'll see any activity unless we have the domino effect. Like you said, Pollock goes, a centre-back comes in. That's all I could see happening, really. But I think I've quite liked having this tight-knit squad. I'll bring that up again, but that story with that Dan Gosling told Andrew French that players were having to go home from training because not every player was needed for sessions. The squad was too big. And I think what we've seen now is that every player is involved in some capacity, some perhaps involved more than others. But having that tight knit squad creates a more intimate feel, a more squad feel more than anything else, rather than just a group of players who have been put together randomly. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to see any drastic changes. And what I think we've built this season so far is a really good platform going into next season, where we can come the summer, we can look at who perhaps we want, who we don't want, and then build from there. But I don't think we need drastic changes now.
Top stuff. Any other final thoughts, lads, ahead of tomorrow? Have a great trip. Bring back the 3 points, please.
I don't know how I'm getting home yet. So if anyone's driving back from the northwest area, hit me up.
Sleep over in Hillsborough.
This is a public announcement. Thanks so much to everybody who watched today. Please do leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to WD18, turn on your post notifications. Bit of housekeeping before we go. WD18 Cup. Link is in the description below to our fundraiser. And if you want to get involved, drop us a DM at WD18 Fans. And also post-match pint Saturday. Mad Squirrel. Be there, be square. Hopefully we'll have a Watford win to talk about over a pint, which is always the best time of the day. Sam, Charlie, what a pleasure. We'll see you in the next one. Safe travels to Hillsborough. And hopefully Watford can bring back the 3 points. Take care. Up the audits. You want.